of longevity. If you lose muscle as you age, you are going to be in a bad situation. I mean, we need muscle to get out of a chair.
Yeah.
You need muscle to perform daily life functions. The other thing people don't realize about muscle is in muscle are insulin receptors. So if you lose muscle, you don't have as many insulin receptors, which means you're now putting yourself in a more insulin resistant state, which means you have to stay on the medication forever to be able to stay at the weight you want because you don't have the same insulin sensitivity.
Peace of wellness, beautiful souls, magnificent beings. Again, we're jumping into some things dealing with this blood sugar and the effects that cortisol have on blood sugar. You just witnessed Dr. Mindy talking about the importance of muscle. The complex thing that comes into play when it comes to understanding when to exercise, how to exercise, especially if you're dealing with prediabetes and or you are type 2 diabetic. One of the key factors that you and I must consider is how cortisol plays a role on raising our blood sugar absent of us eating any food. Meaning when you wake up in the morning, your body will automatically raise its blood sugar through the faculty of the liver breaking down glycogen in order to shoot it back into the body in order to wake the body up. This raises blood sugar. And for those of us who have a damaged our system, either we're insulin resistant or we're pre-diabetic and or we are diabetic, so the body is not functioning at a proper state of being. And this increases the likelihood that our blood sugar will be extremely high in the mornings due to the dawn phenomena because of the cortisol release. One of the things that you have to come into understand is that you can't work out or you shouldn't work out when your blood sugar is high because it's going to add more to the increase of the blood sugar if you're doing an intense style of working out. So the type of workout matters. And this is why we must come to understand the difference between what it is we should do when it and the timing of what it is that
grows in recovery. Muscle doesn't grow. You break it down in the workout. It's growing in the recovery. And after you stimulate a muscle in a workout, I think that's one thing that people don't understand. They're like, I want my glutes to be bigger, or I want to like tone my abs, or I want to tone my arms. And so they'll do arms every day, or they'll do glutes every day. And that's the last thing you need to be doing because you have to give your body enough recovery. Otherwise, you're just going to spiral yourself into chronic inflammation. You're going to end up not building muscle because your body's not going to build the muscle if it doesn't have the proper recovery.
This is another key concept that you and I must come to understand as well, that the body is not recovering. The body is not building muscle doing the workout. The body is actually breaking down the muscle, and you want to break the muscle down. And the other half of that equation is you need to allow the body to rest in order for the muscle to build. And muscle is one of the key components to making the body more insulin sensitive. And this is why you and I must seek at all costs to build muscle, but we must time our workouts in a way that it works with the dissipation of the effect of the dawn phenomenon when the blood sugar level raises pretty high. And you try to work out, especially if you're doing aerobic or cardiovascular workout, it's going to take that up a little bit higher. So you don't want to do that. You actually want to time it at a time when that blood sugar has dropped down, ideally below 100. If you're hovering above 100, above the 125 area in the mornings, you want to wait until that breaks down into about 100. If you do some walking in between every hour, about 15 minutes, that may help you. All right. So allow us to continue with this right here.
6 weeks off of a GLP-1 medication. How's it going? People keep asking me for an update. So here we are at 6 weeks. I'll be completely honest and transparent. It sucks. Have I gained weight? Absolutely. I am up about 15 pounds in 6 weeks, which obviously is not what I wanted, not what I hoped for. Not making any excuses. I'm definitely eating too much. And while I'm making okay food choices, portion control has not been great. The food noise is horrid.
I just want.
This is one of the key things that you and I must understand when we engage in the taking of pharmaceutical drugs in order to correct the problem. Again, the GLP-1s, they work. I've seen many individuals who own it. I know many individuals that I don't know many individuals, but I've seen enough individuals who have taken it and have seen results. The problem with taking anything that is synthetic and not natural to the human organism is that you reduce the body's own natural ability in correcting itself, and you'll become dependent on that. And there's always a side effect to the dependence on something that is synthetic for your health. This is why we choose, or I choose, to do everything naturally and make the sacrifices necessary in order to make that happen. So again, with the GLP-1, there are things that you can do naturally that have a similar effect as to what the GLP-1 hormone and that drug has. Those drugs that they've made that affects the GLP-1. You can utilize what is called berberine. Berberine is a supplementation. And again, supplementations are only that. You have to change some things about your lifestyle. But you can make it happen with a strategic timing of your workout, understanding your blood sugar levels, and nutrition that will not spike your blood sugar to the degree that it takes a long time to get it back low. And again, to actually utilize fasting. You have to understand fasting in order to get the most out of the fast. And all these things I will continue to share with you in these series of videos dealing with offsetting the type 2 diabetes or the pre-diabetic condition and or reversing insulin resistance. If you got information out of this and that you enjoyed this type of information, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Have a beautiful day. Peace.